Hi guys, now that they've made the announcement that September could also be online, I wanted to make sure I finished off with a lesson on how to use Equation Editor on Microsoft Word. So hopefully this will be helpful to next year. I didn't do this at the beginning of our online learning because it kept feeling like we were going to have a week or two and then possibly back to school. And then we started using Equation Editor on the quizzes, and there wasn't really much to submit through Word. But I think this might be really helpful for next year, where it's potentially possible that we are going to be doing a full semester online. So if you are doing stuff next year, here's how you bring up the equation editor within Word so that you can do all of your questions and stuff that you have to submit to whoever's teaching you next year and submit it to the Dropbox through Word. So what you're going to do, if you have mathematics, you could go to this, but on an older version of Word, you'd have to go through Insert. So this is what I'm going to do. Go through Insert and come over to the right where it says Equation. Click on that. And when you get that, you get all sorts of options here. You get fractions, scripts is for exponents, you get root signs, and then integrals is for calculus. Actually, it's more first year university. And then you got some brackets, you got some trig stuff, which you'll need in grade 11. Actually, some of these you'll need in grade 10 as well, but those ones you could just type out the words. So for example, when you're just typing sine, you don't even need to bring up trig, you can just type in sine, right? Okay, but if you want to create fractions, what you're going to do is you're going to go to fraction, and you're going to choose the way you want a fraction to look. There's really no need to do this side-by-side fraction. It's always best to do an up and down fraction, so might as well type it in like that. It'll bring up the blank spaces, and then you just have to click on the numerator and put in the number you want, and click on the denominator and put in the number you want. So if you want 1/9, and let's say you want to add that to something, you want to make sure that you click to the side of it, so you get out of the fraction, you're off to the side, and then you can start to add in your operators, for example, plus. And if you want to do 2 1/3, you just put a cap or a regular 2, then put in your fraction, and you type in your numerator, and you can just hit down to type in your denominator, or you can bring the mouse down and click on the bottom. Okay, once you want to get off of that, double click out of it, and you can just enter, and you can bring in another equation. I put the equation symbol up here for me because I use it all the time being a math teacher. All you have to do is basically click and drag and add it to your toolbar at the top if you are going to be using it lots. A good thing to note, if you are using time signs, do not use the X because the X comes up as an italicized X like algebra. So it's preferable, if you want to use a time sign, to use the actual multiplication sign here so that when you're typing in something you have 8 times 2, for example, it doesn't look like 8x2, okay? There's the not equal sign up here. That's useful for sure. You've got greater than and less than signs. You've got cubed roots, fourth roots. So if you don't want to go through the radical version here where you can bring up your roots, you can just use the square root button here, the cube root button, and so on. Another thing that we just noticed as I pulled up the roots was if you come down to the radical sign, the quadratic formula is already in there. So you can bring that up, and then you can basically change out your numbers if you want. So let's say your b was 4, and then you're doing 4 squared. And let's say your a was 2, you just scroll that up, change the a to a 2. You should put brackets in there so it doesn't look like 42. And then replace your c, and then in the denominator replace your a again. Make sure you replace it with brackets and so on. Okay, so that's a good way to make sure that you are doing the quadratic formula correct. When you are in this, if you go to design, that's what brings up all of this stuff. Okay, so the word design on the top once you've clicked on equation editor. If you want powers of, you go to script, you go to this basic one that has a picture of a base and an exponent. You click on that, and then you can fill in, for example, 5 to the power of 3 and just put those in. Okay, let's do another one. So a new equation. And the last thing I'm going to show you is if you want exponents within the brackets or within the fraction, just click up your fraction first, and then if you want an exponent in the numerator, click on script. It'll allow you then to have a base and a power. So if we want x to the power of 8 on the top, we can just do that. And if we want to divide that by, let's say, x squared, we're going to do script again, and we'll divide that by x squared. So that's how you would do that. If you want to write the answer in the bottom, all you have to do is hit equals, or no, maybe not. I thought it would let me scroll down. I guess not. You may have to bring up another equation just below it to reduce that to x to the power of 6. And if you want this to be on the left and not centered, just click on this arrow, go to change inline. It'll bring it back over to the left. And then on the bottom, you can do equals x to the power of 6. Oh, here's another good thing to know. If you don't want to hit the power of button every time, if you do x to the power of, which is your shift 6, and 6 is our answer here, so we're going to do x to the power of 6, and you hit the space bar, it's going to automatically change it to x to the 6 for you. That power of button, which is on the number 6 key, shift 6, the Word understands that that means a power of. So you don't even have to use the script button up here. We can change that back to inline, and it should pop it over to the left so it's underneath. Okay, so we have 8 x to the 8 over x squared, which equals x to the 6. Okay, I realized that this was probably more useful at the beginning of when we went online, and I'm sorry for not thinking to do a video like this at the beginning. But I hope that if nothing else, it is useful for next year. Okay, if you have any questions about that, feel free to email me and ask, and have a great summer, guys. I really wish that I had a chance to properly say goodbye to you guys this summer, or for the summer, but I look forward to seeing you all in the fall. Bye, guys.